Welcome to Greatness Mindset. I am Dr. Aisha Al-Sheikh. I'm a medical scientist and researcher turned therapist, coach, mentor, and business entrepreneur. Greatness Mindset is a podcast that brings you motivational and authentic messages from incredibly inspiring and extraordinary people, where I dive in and deconstruct their mind to explore different aspects of their lives, from entrepreneurship and leadership to motivation, fears, and how they overcame their struggles, tackled their inner demons, and overcame adversity. This show dissects the psychology behind their successes to help you discover and unlock your inner potential and give the most effective tips, advice, and lessons that you can emulate or apply in your own life, especially if you are just starting your entrepreneurial journey. Each week, I bring you an inspiring and extraordinary person, so keep yourself updated with the latest episodes by subscribing now to this podcast. Nothing worthwhile is done from a comfortable space. Don't get me wrong for a second, there are many sleepless nights and many more to come. You've got to fight that self-doubt. You've got to get up in the morning and get on with it. This is not an easy world to get into. Never reverse a car more than you have to. And don't go back any further than you need to. Keep moving forward. There are lessons to be learned at failing forward. If you lose the battle, at least win the lesson that comes from it. You've got to set the rules. At the end of the day, you've got to control it. By Dene Botha. This is episode number 1, and I'm so excited about this episode as I've got an incredibly inspiring guest with me today. His name is Dene Botha. He is loved and admired by hundreds of thousands of people, especially youth around the world. Dene is a self-taught entrepreneur and recognized as one of the 100 most influential young South Africans for 2019. He founded the Pride Factor Life Skills Academy during 2014 to inspire and guide teenagers and young adults to overcome problems of unemployment and its associated poverty and inequality. He is now the founder and managing director at Pride Factor South Africa and also Empowered Youth UK, and the company has now interacted with and inspired more than 57,000 young people at over 125 live events and reached hundreds and thousands more via mainstream and social media. Pride Factor is a life skills academy dedicated to improve the quality of young people's lives by inspiring, guiding, and mentoring them to challenge their assumption, broaden their aspiration, and develop entrepreneurial thinking. Without further ado, let's dive into Dene's world and mind to find out more. I would like to start off by asking you about the story behind Pride Factor and why you decided to go down the entrepreneurial path and start Pride Factor. What was it, that moment that you went through that caused you to just say, you know what, I'm just going to go and dive in and do this?
Well, firstly, thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute honor, I must be honest. Actually, you and I, even though we are worlds apart, literally, we surround ourselves by similar circles of people. So the story behind Pride Factor, where did it come from? In short, it's a culmination of my life, I must be honest. Everything that we teach here are kind of the lessons that I have been through throughout my life. We talk a lot about staying in school. Reason for that is I'm a high school dropout. We talk a lot about this because I've done that. I got into sales at a young age. I got into all kinds of things like that. So it's actually a culmination of having worked with young people in the surf coaching world when I was about 21, again in the UK, in Newquay and Cornwall, of all places. It's got a lot to do with me in South Africa being in a bunch of reality TV shows, being like a minor celebrity at one stage in my life. And having a network of very aspirational and inspirational people. And the third thing would actually be the circles that we hang around with is I was at an Andy Harrington event with my mentor, friend, and now business partner, Greg Secker. And that would be my glass shattering moment, my eureka moment. I saw Andy up on stage and I just went, wait a second. I feel like if the audience was a whole bunch of young, hopeful youth looking for life direction, and the person on stage was some kind of role model that these guys recognized and looked up to, and there was gifts and awards and prizes and music and edutainment and that was the idea. That was my catalyst. I was like, okay. And 2 weeks later, I registered the company Pride Factor.
Oh wow! Okay, so you just dive into it. I was like, yes. And
straight into
it. Did you ever question like, oh, is this gonna work out or not? Is this something that you've always, the doubts people usually have? Oh, is this something? Maybe there's something out there similar. Why do you think I would succeed in that? Some people might go through that when they have an idea to establish a business. So, what was it for you that made you just say, you know what, I don't care. I'm just gonna do it.
Well, it's been six and a bit years, and I still ask myself that question on a regular basis, to be completely honest. No, I think, I have really no very formal education. So I've been one of those guys that have kind of cruised through life, hustling, as they call it. I've made my way around. I've never really worked for anyone. I've tried this, I've tried this. And I think at that point that I was at that Andy Harrington event with Greg Secker standing by my side, I think it was very important to me that I was like, well, what have I got to lose? Like, what have I actually got to lose? I've learned from these masters. I've got the support. I feel I've got the know-how, and I've been working with young people since I was 21. So, 10 years later, I decided to take the plunge, and here we are.
Okay. So, what are the challenges are you facing today, especially with what's happening with the world, with the virus? It just affected a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of businesses got affected by it. So for you, what are the challenges are you actually facing, and how are you actually coping with this as well?
Good question. I don't know if I am actually coping with it, to be completely honest. It's been extremely difficult, but again, I'm not going to just rattle on about COVID-19 and everything there, because I know the whole world's obviously feeling what it is that we are going through currently. It's been very tricky for us down here in South Africa, certainly for the main point that our country's unemployment is currently sitting at about 30% at the moment. That's what the last statistic was, coming into the second quarter. The projection looks like we should hit 50% of our country by the end of the year. Wow. Now, that is a massive amount of people for a country that withholds 59 odd million people. So our unemployment is rife, and you can see it more and more and more on the daily, on the daily. So the challenges that we are having, certainly down here in South Africa, is that everything is pretty much on hold. We deal with a lot of corporate companies that sponsor young people to go through our life skills training programs, our entrepreneurship, financial literacy, work ready. So corporates sponsor the young people to go through the programs as sort of like a bursary program. Those corporates have now been put on hold. All their budgets have been put on hold. So it's been quite tricky in that element. Secondly, one of the major problems that we have down here in South Africa is connectivity. So data. Data is extremely expensive down here. And young people obviously would rather spend their money on food and kind of just day-to-day surviving than they would on data. And if they do feel luxurious enough to buy themselves some data, well, they want to check out Instagram and Facebook and see what their friends are doing, not really learn something. So the mentality behind the education side is probably our biggest stumbling block at the moment. All of these young people rely on libraries, universities, public transport, and fast food chains for their free Wi-Fi. And none of those places are currently on operation. So it's really put kind of the brakes on the education system. It's unreal. The domino effect behind it has just been absolutely unreal.
Wow. Have you spoke to other also leaders in the industry about this and probably came up with an idea just to see what can you do? Or is this something probably you want to explore maybe?
Yes. We obviously teach the young people that in every place of disaster there is an opportunity. So we try and practice what we preach, finding the loopholes and finding the opportunities in it. Being in touch with other industry leaders, yes, we are. There's a lot of us that are in several WhatsApp groups. Thank goodness for WhatsApp. So we're all kind of coming up with ideas. But I think that the big trick at the moment, and we're borderline, we've actually got a meeting, this phone call, is to zero rate the data that goes into a lot of learning platforms. And there's a number of mobile network companies here that are doing that. So it just takes some time, obviously, to zero rate the data. And then the young people have access to it. So yeah, holding thumbs that the meeting this afternoon goes far.
Thanks for sharing that with me. I know it's difficult. A lot of people don't admit these kind of stuff, especially if you are like starting, like having a business. This kind of side behind what's going on it's many people are struggling with, but everyone is trying to put up a front saying, no, I'm there. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for actually sharing that. And as a leader yourself, like being on the social media and like facing this at the same time, you're trying to be the leader. So what's kind of pressure actually facing internally to actually cope or at least just get by, first of all, and what are you doing to improve yourself on that area as well?
At the moment, I think I've been working on quite a bit of personal reflection, a lot more meditation, a lot more reading, a lot more healthy eating, and a lot more juicing, lots of juices.
Oh, wow.
Just to try and get the whole body alkaline up and everything. And that's the one, whether you know it or not, our lockdown, we were on a level system, level 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we've recently just gone down to level 3. So on the 1st of June, we're on level 3, which basically means all the rules are the same, but we're allowed outside. So that's as close as we are. And all restaurants obviously closed, all those kind of meeting spaces, schools are going back bit by bit. So we're kind of still going over the curve. So from myself personally, as I say, I've been just trying to do some personal reflection, some personal betterment, as I say, quite a bit of meditation, quite a bit of reading. I've been trying to stay away from the social media side of things, to be completely honest. Okay. I feel like no matter what you put out there at the moment, you're going to offend someone. Someone is upset. I think the general mentality at the moment is that people are just pretty angry. You know, people are angry whether it's our leadership or whether it's this or whether it's that or someone else's opinion, be it religious or race or whatever it is. It's just whatever you say, someone's going to try and nitpick you at the moment. So I'm kind of trying to just keep a little bit more of a low profile and let our actions speak louder than words. In saying that, in South Africa at the moment, June is known as Youth Month. So it is all about the youth at the moment. So we're really plugging this in every way possible. And we've got media releases going out every couple of days because there's a lot going on at the moment. There really is. Partnership with Global Citizen and this one and that one. So I think it's a bit of a balancing act, to answer your question in a long-winded way. I think there's a balancing act between don't wake up first thing in the morning and look on social media. That's the last thing you want to do. And you don't want to look on social media just before you go to bed. You've got to have that time to yourself. And I think it's kind of like an hour each side. Before you go to bed, after you wake up in the morning, you kind of got that hour breaker each side. I think don't go and just scroll through social media because you're bored. You don't really want to do that.
A lot of people actually do that because it's like the first thing is like, it's like an addiction. It actually does. Yes. It does affect your brain. It's a good tip, to be honest. Like many people don't do it, but like that's a good thing to leave 1 hour, not like, dealing with social media before bed or first thing in the morning. Yeah,
my rule is that I wake up in the morning, my phone is always in another room. I won't charge my phone next to my bed, be it for radiation, be it whatever it is. I just don't like the whole idea there. So I turn my data and my Wi-Fi off as soon as dinner is ready. So about 6, 7 o'clock at night, Wi-Fi and data go off. So my phone's still on. So if there's an emergency of any sort, my mom can phone me, my dad can phone me, anything like that. But I'm not in little WhatsApp groups and emails and bing, 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 just leave that. And in the morning, wake up, take half an hour to yourself. I promise you it is the best thing you'll do. Go and have some lemon water, take a look outside, gather your own opinion. How are you feeling? Get some coffee. And once you've isolated or identified how you are, then go and see what the rest of the world is doing. But I've been doing it for years, and everyone I say, maybe you should try this. They always say, that's actually a really good idea. So take it or leave it.
It is a good idea, actually. I do most of these stuff, but the phone is a bit of a difficult one because my alarm is on it. So it's a good tip though, but I'll try to do that. Anyways, I just want to ask you also, if you had the chance to start your career over, what is it that you want to do differently?
I'm a strong believer in what Steve Jobs said, and that is you can only connect the dots of your life when you look backwards. So I'm very much behind that, and that's why, to answer your first question, I feel that where I am today is a culmination of everything I've done in my previously. So if I was to start it again from scrap,
knowing what you know now, yeah,
knowing what I know now, see, that's the difference. Yes, I would make quite a bunch of fundamental changes. One thing I suppose would be do your due diligence on whoever it is that you're looking to partner up with. Go and do some research, have a look around. There are some people that will come to you and offer you the world, and then after a couple of weeks and months of frustration, nothing really comes from it, and it ends up being a bit of a waste of time. So certainly that's one thing I would do, due diligence. Secondly, I think one of the lessons that I've learned is it's difficult when you're an entrepreneur because you're kind of looking for favors. You need people to help you out as you go along, and maybe you'll have like a bartering deal. But if I could do it again, I'd certainly stay away from favors. Favors don't really get you anywhere. You can't demand anything from anyone if you've done them a favor. Deadlines fall out the window. Finances come into it. Things can get ugly. So I would stay away from favors. If you're fortunate enough to be able to pay for the job, make it professional, set a date, set a deliverable, set a timeline, that's the way to do it. Other than that, knowing what I know now, no, I'm relatively rather happy with the way things have gone from our side, I must say, and we're growing at a substantial rate. So yeah, can't complain too much, touch wood.
What is your greatest fear?
Sure. Do you have all day?
Yes, we can do that. It's just one of those, yeah.
Fear. Greatest fear. I don't know, looking back on that sounds so cliche, looking back on your sense of on your life and not being proud of what it is that you do. So that's the theory behind pride factor. The theory behind pride factor is that we're all going to die one day. And I know that's a rather negative way to start off your pitch, but we're all going to die one day. So the ultimate goal then is a sense of pride when you get to your deathbed. You get to the end of your life and you look back with a sense of pride going, I made some remarkable differences in the world, be it my world or someone else's world. I impacted lives positively. I have good memories. I had fun time. I made good decisions, choices, and additions. So I think after me living this so prominently for so many years now, I think if I get to the end of my life and I'm not looking back with a sense of pride, I will be very disappointed with myself. So that's kind of an overhanging fear. Other than that,
so is it fear of regret?
A fear of regret, yeah, maybe that's what it is. But coming from the surfing world, and that's kind of my background, my father is literally Mr. Surfing South Africa. He's done it all. So a fear of mine would always obviously not being able to surf. That I've lived my life the way that I have for a long time to ensure that I always have access to the ocean and can get in the ocean. Again, that's why these past 3 months have been ridiculously difficult because we haven't been allowed to go in the sea. And actually, it's still a grey area. Yeah, I don't know if that really answers your questions. I don't have many fears when it comes to business because you've got to get over those fears. You cannot have fears when it comes to business. We all do. But you can't really, because if it comes up as a fear, then it becomes an obstacle. An obstacle basically is just an opportunity dressed differently. So it's about how you tackle it.
Yeah, thanks. No, that was good, actually. That was like something I just said one, so it's all good. It's like you just said two, so it's perfect. This is something a lot of people struggle with. I struggle with personally. And it's when you have this... self-doubt creeping in and in what you do? And what is it that a lot of people, you probably struggled with that at some point. And when this comes in, how do you actually, what do you say to yourself to snap out of it? To get, like, you know what, I'm just going to take this self-doubt away. So what is it that comes in?
I probably wouldn't be the best person to ask in this field. I'm quite confident, and I can be quite confrontational at times. So when self-doubt does come in, this is certainly one of my bad habits, is when self-doubt does come in, I'm pretty quick to not pass the blame, but I think most humans do. You kind of look for someone else or something else to blame. You know, something's going wrong. Maybe the bills are creeping up, and you're worried about the end of the month salaries for everyone. You know, I get quite pedantic on my staff, and I start sending everyone emails and WhatsApps, going like, "Listen, guys, you guys really need to pull it." You know, and everyone will come back and go like, "Whoa, okay, calm down." Like, no, you actually really, like, you guys need to get on with this. This is serious. I don't know what you guys are playing at. From that, probably within about 5 to 15 minutes, I will have a complete overwhelming sense of regret for saying that. I will then kind of go into my cave and feel very sheepish and think like, I owe everyone a bit of an apology now. And I think that's then my learning curve. It's like, okay, cool, Dean, you're just being a little bit hard on everyone because you're not feeling comfortable with everyone. So let's set up a meeting with everyone. Let's have a little chat, iron it out, say your apologies, and then carry on with it. So I'm not very good at dealing with self-doubt because I kind of, distracted and I push it onto everyone else. So
no, I just wanted to find out, because I think everyone struggles with that, and everyone acts differently on it. So thanks for actually sharing that. I'm also going to ask you something very personal. A lot of people, I personally struggle with. It's something a lot of high achievers struggle with. And I'm just questioning you, have you ever struggled with imposter syndrome? If you know what it is, it's like a phenomenon that occurs to high achievers where they feel imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome because it's something that you feel like
I don't know what it is.
Okay, so it's a phenomenon that occurs to high achievers. So where you feel that you are like a fraud and wondering that people will figure you out anytime soon because you feel sometimes not good enough at a particular area. But even though you're actually good, it's just that mental kind of, just like, oh, what if, kind of things, what if they started doubting me and discovering. So this is called an imposter syndrome. And a lot of people, academics, doctors, everyone goes through that. So I was wondering if you actually also struggled with that.
I think, reverting back to my answer earlier on, like I've done a lot in public spaces here. I've been on, I think, 12 or 13 TV shows. I've been an MC for music concerts, 25,000 people. I've done this and that and that. At the same time, I'm really shy. I really am. Put me in front of 25,000 people or TV camera. We carry on for days. One-on-one discussions or me at a meeting with 3 new people that I don't really know. I'm incredibly shy. I fumble quite a bit. I battle to remember people's names. And I get very embarrassed about it. Also, in saying that, on a higher level, there are a number of people that we work with, either be it business partners or sponsors, corporates, mentors, all of that. I'm more than happy to write them an email. I get rather nervous of picking up the phone and phoning them in case it's not quite the right time or it's not the right message or anything like that. So I'll WhatsApp someone for 2 weeks before I actually just pick up the phone and go, hey, and they'll be like, why didn't you phone me 2 weeks ago? I'm like, oh. So I don't feel quite good enough there. I feel like I'm slightly inferior when it comes to that, even though we've been, in business for 4 years. I'm a bit sheepish there. Maybe that's my syndrome.
No, it's just, that's fine. Some people do struggle with it. A lot of people do that. Other people don't, so it's fine. Okay.
This is like a full-on therapy session.
I know.
Okay,
sorry.
Keep it up. No, I'm loving it.
I'm glad you are, because it's like I'm going down routes that like people actually question it. So, one of these things, when I wanted to ask, when you feel down and things are not going your way, how do you actually motivate yourself and get yourself to try again? What is it that goes in your head when you feel down and you do all the coping, getting into your bed or whatever and like caving in? But then after that, what is it that's, because some people get stuck in that phase, that can go weeks, months sometimes. Yeah. And I would like to understand, what is it that you do to snap yourself out of it, or what you say to yourself in your head? Remember if you go back to a memory where you remember probably something where you felt down and you actually, but then you try to motivate yourself, what is it that you told yourself basically?
I don't think it's so much about telling myself. I think it's more about, I get outdoors.
Okay.
I get outside. That is my snap out of it syndrome. Yeah, be it climbing. My fiance and I went up in the mountains this morning before this little cold front came over. I try and get in the ocean, take a walk outside, breathe in some fresh air, get the body moving around, get the blood pumping a little bit, get the oxygen flowing, breathing, meditation, all that. I'm well behind that. So I will find that if I'm sitting here and a frustration email comes through, and that phone call, and this isn't working, that isn't working, cut the tie immediately. Try and take a little bit of time to yourself. Like I said, my routine in the mornings and the evening, take some alone time. Try and ascertain it yourself or figure it out yourself. So yeah, I would normally try and get outside as best I could, half an hour, 45 minutes, and just reset, and then come back and start again.
That's really good. Yeah. I think you probably answered my next question, which is how to find your inner peace. But if you want to...
Nature. Yeah, definitely. Get into nature. As I say, again, the meditation side of things certainly helps. Outdoors.
What do you think? Do you think you found your life purpose and passion? And if so, yeah, let's answer that first.
Okay. My father, who is 73 years old, still to this day says, "Dean, I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up." And I love that mentality. Always remain young at heart, always be youthful, always have opportunities available. Yeah, I really did. I said it my whole life. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get older. So is this everything and anything? Or is this everything going forward for me? At the moment, I'm completely content with everything that is going on. I'm more than happy. I'm more than excited with everything that's going on. Future opportunities, though, absolutely. I've got a list of 40 other things that I'd like to kind of sink my business ideas into, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and get involved with this and that. But, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So take it patiently, but yeah, I do get quite excited to get involved with other things. So I can't quite answer that question, but maybe we'll do another interview in 5 years' time, and we'll pick up then.
I was going to ask as well if you have advice for other people on how to find their own purpose and passion from your outlook in life, from your perspective of life. What is it that you would advise someone who's young, for example?
Well, this is what we do. So this is exactly what it is that we teach at Pride Factor. It's quite simple. It's these three things. Number one is find your passion. And a lot of young people battle to find it, especially if you're 15 or 16, or what are we going to do for the rest of your life? But the question then is, what makes your heart sing? What gets you jumping out of bed in the morning as if it was Christmas morning and you're 6 years old? What is that thing that you love? Is it creating music? Is it cooking? Is it hiking? Is it coding? Is it dancing? Whatever it is, what is that thing that every time you do it, you're like, I love that. I really love that. So number one, find your passion. Number two, become really, really good at it. Really good at it. If you're going to do this thing, you need to do it very, very, very well, and understand that there's a lot of competition out there because other people also want to do it. If you want to do DJing, you've got to practice. You've got to put in your 20,000 hours, let alone your 10,000. Yeah. So number one, find your passion. Two, become really good at it. And three, see if you can turn that into your lifestyle and career. So that's very much the three topics that we teach through Pride Factor for young people. And if you can, and it's not going to come overnight, not by any means, but if you can tick those three boxes off, we feel that you are living a life of wealth, health, happiness, and success. Like that's the route you want to go down. If you are a parent, the one thing we'll always ask you is, what do you want for your kids? And I can guarantee most people think, oh, safety and security and blah, blah, blah. It's not. The first answer is usually happiness. It's happiness. You want your kids to be happy. That means that they are safe and they are looked after and they are financially fit and they are educated, etc. They've got availability to them. They've got options and possibilities available to them. So if you can teach them to be happy, then they should be doing what it is that they want to be doing. Obviously, there's a balance to everything that we do in life, but yeah, that's exactly what it is that we're trying to get our young people to see, is that the world that we live in now, you can find something that genuinely makes your heart sing and become a professional in it and do that for the rest of your life.
I agree with you in that sense, because I do a lot of also finding purpose and passion. So it was interesting to see how we're agreeing on that part of things. And also, like, I know that you're doing a lot of things. How do you, as an entrepreneur, as a business, like who's running a business, how do you balance? There's a lot of balancing health, lifestyle, or relationship and business. Like, what would you do, like, to help you achieve that balance in your life? Or if you're probably not having that balance, some people do. A lot of entrepreneurs, especially if they're starting out, their whole life is their career. They neglect other areas of their life.
Yeah.
So for you, what would be something you would do and also would advise on to others who are trying to balance everything in their life?
I think balance is one of the key points that we actually need to focus on. Key things that people, human beings, actually need to focus on. You know, everyone that goes and works these 12, 14, 17-hour days from time to time and burns himself out needs to obviously focus on the balance. It's a very tough question, that, Aisha. I must be completely honest. You know, I feel that if you get into a routine where you say that every morning I'm going to get up and have my coffee, and then I'm going to meditate, and then I'm going to do some exercise, then I'm going to do 8 hours of work, then I'm going to have dinner and go to bed. I think if you did that for about a month, you'll probably get bored. Certainly as an entrepreneur, it's like, well, I need to mix it up a little bit. Yeah. And on other days, you go, right, well, I'm going to go for a hike in the morning and take some time off. Meanwhile, you're hiking and you're just holding onto your phone in case it vibrates, because you are actually at work at the same time. So the balance and entrepreneurship,
it's a bit of a
really go hand in hand at all, you know.
But that might be it. That's maybe it, you know.
Maybe that is it.
On the long term, that you're just maybe dedicating certain hours at a specific point, but then you have that life relationship balance part of things later on, and then it's like a burst of different, rather than having a monotone lifestyle. Yeah, I was just wondering, because a lot of people, because a lot of people see it, oh, I don't have time for the family, for my health or whatever, because I've been dived into one particular area. But then maybe the answer is like, okay, maybe you get out of that area and then try to do it in bursts rather than like, you know, so you get that variation. Maybe I'm just like, it's just a thought.
No, I think that's kind of spot on. I think there's not a lot of balance in this world. And if you are going to become an entrepreneur or a small business owner in a certain field, it's surely because you have a passion for it. You're not going to become an entrepreneur of restaurants if you don't enjoy restaurants. You know, so there has to be this passion for it. And that's why I always think that entrepreneurs always have affairs, like we do. We have affairs with our work, though. We are constantly thinking about it. We're constantly, you know, I mean, wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning to go and get some more water, and you kind of sit there going, what if I just you grab a pen and you start like jotting things down? Like, that is, we are having an affair with our work constantly. It's the only thing we ever talk about. You know? So there isn't much balance in this lifestyle at all.
True. You need to probably have a partner in that area, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, what are the 3 habits that made a significant improvement in your life?
The 3 habits that made 3 habits. One on the business side would be pick up the phone more rather than emailing. I think there's I've actually did a little kind of social experiment survey with some of my successful friends the other day, and just put out that little survey. As a successful person, do you spend more time on email or LinkedIn or anything, or on the phone? And I think it was like 87% of them said on the phone. So that's one thing I've been really implying a lot this year. 2, as I've said a few times now, get outside, have time for yourself, be it meditate, be it read, be it take a nice long bath with candles, whatever it is that you want to do, have that time. Don't be sitting in the bath like this, sit in the bath, listen to a podcast or a nice guided meditation or something like that. So that would probably be another one. And then 3 would certainly be eat better, eat well. You are what you eat, and that's completely true. As Greg Secker actually says in his one talk, when we are developed as a baby, we kind of start with our gut, and you need to look after that because it is pretty much close to everything that we are. So drink more water, breathe in fresh air, like make sure that what goes in your body is green and is fresh, and that kind of stuff. It really does a lot for you. If you drink too much, I can promise you the next day you are going to feel it, and it affects your thoughts, it affects your mood, it affects all of this. You have a beautiful salad at dinner and a nice glass of wine. The next morning you just have more energy. You are a happier person in general. And if you're going to jump into a meeting and you're smiling and you're energetic, it will go better. So it's like that domino effect. Yeah.
There's also another tricks that I want you to share, like the entrepreneurial tricks that you've learned or discovered to keep you focused and productive in your day-to-day schedule. So what are these like entrepreneurial tricks that would keep you focused from day to day?
Okay. Write everything down. That's one. Write everything down, or use the voice recorder on your phone. I'm constantly walking around going, I've got an idea, blah, 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 blah. And then I get back to my desk and I write everything down. So use those apps. Record your thoughts, basically is what I'm saying. Record the thoughts. Number 2, have regular meetings with your staff or crew. Certainly keep the communication open. I find that vitally important. If I don't talk to anyone for a day or 2, I'll usually be quite surprised as what comes out of day 3. So keep the communication open with your staff or your crew or your partners or anything like that. Just keep talking. And then I think maybe number 3 would be, don't always focus on the end result. I've got my whiteboard here, and for probably the most of last year on there was written my projected turnover for the year. That's what I wanted. That was my ultimate. So I've taken the number and the figure of the monetary value, and I've changed that to the amount of lives of young people that we'd like to impact. And it's changed. It's shifted our thinking completely. If we aim to reach that amount of people, which is 100,000 for this year, I know we'll achieve the financial. But if I focus on the financial, it's not going to make a difference how many people we impact. So we've turned that one around and certainly made a difference. COVID-19 aside, focus on what it is that you're trying to do and impacting of the change, as opposed to the measurable in the form of ROI.
That is actually very helpful. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's actually helpful to me. It's some of the, like what you just said. Okay, this is more of a holistic kind of thinking. How do you want to change the world, and what's your ultimate vision as a human being on Earth?
Yeah, that is an interesting one. I think along the egoic side of things, the leaving behind a legacy project, that's that kind of thing. I'm not really one to have a street or a school named after him or anything like that, but I'd like to have Pride Factor, no, not just me personally, but Pride Factor known for what it has and is and will continue doing. In the form of impact, it doesn't matter what you get paid. It doesn't matter of a campaign being signed off. It doesn't matter of going on a 2-month roadshow. What matters is when you get a random message from a young person, in my case, sending out just a letter of appreciation or just a little blurb. I remember one the other day just going, "Hi, Dean, I don't know if you remember me. My name's Chase. I was at your first event in 2014. I just want to let you know." And he just went into this little thing about where he's gone in his life of music and technology development and blah, blah, blah. And his parents didn't believe in him at the time. But now him and one of our other attendees from that course in 2014 have gone on. They've got a little label that they've started. Music is everything, blah, blah. And getting a message like that just makes everything worthwhile. Like everything. I'll take the rest of the day off after that just because it's like, oh, that's what it's all about. So now, having been involved with this, as I said, for about 6 years, we're getting quite a bit of that coming in. And that is so rewarding. It is so rewarding. Again, a fat bank balance, yes, we all need it, we all want it. But getting a restaurateur, that was the best meal I've had. Or someone loves your business idea, or someone signs off on this and just agrees with what it is that you're doing and thanks you for it without any kind of self-gain.
That's the rewarding thing.
We sleep well at night.
That's an important thing. That's a good point, actually. Yeah. So basically, you want to change the life of the children around the world and the way they view.
Yeah.
So
we want to empower these young people to go on and lead. Just enjoy, have fun.
You've already answered my next question, which is about leaving a legacy, but you already said that.
I'm getting quite good at this, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. You're like going ahead with these questions, but it's brilliant. I love it. One more thing, and probably it's my last question for you today. If you were to leave Earth today, what are the 3 unique pieces of knowledge or wisdom from your own life and experiences would you give your family or people? 3 pieces of knowledge. If I could leave
Earth today, as in disappear with Elon Musk?
Disappear or die or whatever is the...
Okay, right, yeah.
Or get kidnapped by aliens or whatever. What is it that with the 3 pieces of knowledge and advice that is unique that you want to give someone? Your family or people generally?
So that's a very interesting one. I have a tattoo on my ribs that I try and live by as much as possible. It's a cliche saying, it's an old Buddhist saying, that is, all that you are is a result of what you've thought. It's a key thing that I do try and focus on. If you're gonna focus on something, focus on where it is that you want to go and what it is that you want to do. And I think that's kind of been a little life hack of mine, is you will become whatever you think of. So focus on the positive, look for the good in people, understand that life is a test, this too shall pass, all the little cliche little sayings all fit into it. So yeah, certainly that would be the one. 2 is something that I said to myself when I went to Bali with a girl and a diamond ring and came back single. That was a couple of years ago, and I lost my girl, my house, my car, my job, and my cat in 2 weeks. So I went through a very difficult period, as we all do. But I remember saying there that nothing in life should be so serious that it's no longer enjoyable. Enjoy it. Like try and find the better in people and the better in things that are out there. And number 3, which is something that I live by, and I don't know if it's for everyone, but I would rather burn out than rust away. Very much so. I feel like we are, as human beings, we are explorers. We are natural adventurers. There's nowhere in the rule book that it says that you're meant to slowly get to the end of your world and have this big fat bank balance and this and that and that you want. When you die, you take nothing with you but your memories. You can't take the house and the car and the blah, 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 blah. So make those memories incredible. And I think that's something that I'm going to try implore to my kids when I have them, that it's all about the memories. It's all about what it is that you do in this one life that you've got available, and that then brings in the balance, because you do need the money and you do need the support and you do need the this and you do need everything in between. But I think those are some of the things that if I was to leave and come back or teach someone from the other side, I think it would be those kind of things, which are kind of cloudy lessons. They're there, but there's grey area around them. I think those are the things that I've been focusing on the most at the moment, definitely.
Wow, that was amazing. And
does that help?
So much. Yes, it was actually. That was actually quite useful to share that. That's like 3 points of wisdom from your side. And thank you so much for actually sharing that human side of you, and actually sharing the difficulties and the ups and the advice. And is there anything else you'd like to add to the audience that you want to share?
I think we've pretty much covered everything here, but I think one thing that I would like to say with us now becoming rather prominent and launching in the UK and India and all these kind of places, that we very much like to remain as the human contact people. So if anyone does want to talk or wants to chat about their young person or some advice or what, please do reach out. Like, that is a genuine offer. If you're, we're looking to engage with young people and their parents and teachers and educators and corporates and all that kind of stuff. But our forte, I would say, is that we're constantly actually talking to people. So if anyone that's listening to this, like to get their 16-year-old or 22-year-old lazy bugger off the couch or anything like that, please do come and talk to us. We've got some proven methods that work, and we'd love to hear from you.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Dene. And I really had the amazing pleasure. Good start in the morning for me. Thank you for joining me today, everyone. To automatically receive the latest episode, please subscribe. And if you'd like to support the show, please share with one friend that you can help. And if you find it helpful, then please leave a review and comment on who you would also like to see as a guest in the future episodes. You can also message me directly on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Dr. Aisha Al-Sheikh at DrAishaAlSheikh. Keep working on your dreams to make them reality. And have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world.